What up, everybody? It's your boy King Crowder, chiming back in with another edition of History We Do Not Know, or History That Is Not Taught, American Gems. Today's lesson comes all the way from East Texas on a city called Slocum, Texas, east of Waco, in a small, thriving black community during the 1910s. This tragedy is known as the Slocum Massacre. This massacre occurred when a white citizen that was of a poor class wanted to collect the debt of a black citizen who already cleared his debt, but he claimed just because he was a white person that the interest was not filed and paid off. This town of Slocum was a thriving community that was mostly self-sufficient, post-Reconstruction, doing well, isolated, and thriving community. What started this pretense from upshifting more to Slocum having this huge massacre was when a huge road construction company, back when the roads were being built, decided to go with a black foreman and a black supervisor. This black supervisor, instead of hiring the whites in East Texas, decided to give the blacks in East Texas an opportunity. This enraged white citizens around locally and in that area by saying, why are they getting preferential treatments instead of us? The reason why this is such a insightful story and a tragedy one, because anytime that you see these towns all across the United States begin to prosper and do well, you never hear about these things going on. If you know anything about Texas history, it's always about the Alamo, the Battle of Helena, Freedom against Mexico War. This tragedy has never been mentioned. The reason why this is such an insightful thing was that when this concentration actually happened in Slocum in East Texas, when it started to occur, whites from around there unionized, mobilized, and said we must form up because these blacks are going to overtake our city and begin to take all of our jobs. You hear that same sort of rhetoric and commentary currently. So when the formation of this, we got to protect ourselves, they're going to try to take over ideology, began to expand. You saw about roughly, I think it was about, they said, quote me if I'm wrong, 7 to 8 groups of 30 white men, heavily armed, heavily going towards the town of Slocum. And the one that was known the most around this was Jim Springer. He was definitely the one that was portraying this imagery. Mr. Springer, whose face definitely needs to go on a jumbotron, heavily went into bringing ignorant rhetoric, tone, argumentative, and basically just chastising the whole Slocum community. He went around and got these guys to arm each other, and they really entered this town. And as they entered this town, they fired at black citizens at will. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. You're walking out your apartment complex right now. You're getting something to eat, you're home, wherever you may reside. And openly, you see people shooting at you that you have no idea who they are. You have no idea how they got there. And you just literally don't know what's going on. That is what happened to the black American citizens at this time. They were gunned down, shot at, and hunted and persecuted like wild, unprotected animals. The people from the other side of these railroad tracks came into Slocum, started shooting immediately. They went down, road to road, cabin to cabin, and were shooting black citizens at will. It was such a tragedy that black citizens who tried to escape the massacre, it was a whole lot of tree and forest land at the time, were literally gunned down in the woods, walked over like we were in an active war zone. So you literally see these people trying to escape, got their freedom, go away from where this tragedy was. They were literally shot in the back. Shot in the back and hunted down in Slocum. You begin to see all these initial attackers say that they were threatened by these individuals and that they were so terrified for their lives. Post the war, the battle happening, you began to see other sheriffs and local black people come into that town discussing it. And they said it was impossible to keep the body count because there was so many bodies and people shot down in the woods. The crows and the buzzards began to eat the bodies that were decaying because it was over 600, 700 people. This tragedy is still not being discussed in the Texas history books. Slocum happened because of envy and jealousy solely. White rage channeled this energy, and we began to see how these people were treated like lower than lowers, lower than the slums. It has really been under discussed in a way because it happened literally near Waco, Texas. It is such a tragedy that this event is not more talked about in the Texas history dialogue because it is such a insightful look into the bad side of humanness, and also discuss how race wars or the other side of American history that we don't discuss is not broken down. If you are not familiar with the story, it is truly kind of hard to read, but I definitely think I did my best to break it down with the amount of information available. These resources are discussed commonly on it. The only tragedy is that I can say that there were no arrests and nobody was ever persecuted on this ground. No justice was ever served. No victims ever received a respect in their memory as they should. And those individuals that died that day never got the proper just due. Tragic story, kind of hard to talk about, but definitely a part of American history that we should discuss. The story, not his story. I want to stay away from that his story movement, y'all. I would love to go over the story of America. That's what's important, and that's what matters. It's your boy King Crowder. Check it back out. Please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. If you have anything that you'd like to chime in or contribute about, I'm more willing to listen. I just want to thank everybody that's subscribed, that's willing to listen. I just want to tell you I appreciate for all that you do. Love, support, and understanding. Peace.